Hey, Brookside and Berkeley, it's Mrs. Eliason. I've missed you guys. I hope you had a really great Memorial Day weekend, and I really hope you guys get outside this week. You know, we're finally starting to get some really nice warm temperatures outside. I know we've been going in the backyard a whole lot lately, and my kids have been having water gun fights and playing in the sprinklers, and I just like sitting outside listening to music or reading a good book. But I hope you guys get outside as the weather is getting more and more beautiful out there. All right, so the book I have this week is Sofia Valdez, Future Prez. And I think a lot of you will recognize the way that this book is because I have read books by this author and illustrator to almost every grade now. If you guys remember, in first grade, I read Ada Twist Scientist, about a little girl who wants to be a scientist. Second grade, I read Rosie Revere Engineer, which I love that book. Remember, my second graders, we talked about Rosie the Riveter and what an engineer does and how Rosie wants to just invent great things. And then third graders, we read Iggy Peck Architect, and we looked at all great buildings throughout the world and great architecture. And this author, Andrea Beatty, and illustrator David Roberts, they write a series of books about kids who have great ideas and kids who follow their dreams. And the kids that each book is about a different kid that goes to the same class. And what's really interesting is the kids from the other books like Rosie Revere, Iggy Peck, Ada Twist, they're in this book too. And this book, however, is about a different girl from their class. This book is about Sofia Valdez. Now, she's a little different from the other ones. You know, Rosie Revere, Ada Twist, and Iggy Peck, those are all kids that are interested in STEM. And if you remember in class, we mentioned STEM is science, technology, engineering, math, which is one of our big things that we do in our media class every week, right? We always did building and Legos and robotics. Well, all of that is STEM. So I've always read these books as STEM books, but this one's a little different because this isn't about a girl who's into STEM. She is really interested in making her community a better place, which I think is really amazing. And it's something we should all be thinking about right now, is how we can make our community, you know, Westwood, that wonderful town you guys live in, how can you make Westwood better? Maybe we'll have some ideas by the time I'm done with this book. So here we go. This is Sofia Valdez, Future Prez. All right. Sofia Valdez, Future Prez. Sofia was a baby who got things done, helping her family before she turned 1. She and Abuelo went out every week to help elderly neighbors around Blue River Creek who couldn't get out and about on their own and with no place to gather were stuck home alone. Raking the leaves, taking pets for a walk, or just dropping by for a treat and a talk, Sofia Valdez did as much as she could for her family and friends and her whole neighborhood. A dreamer, a doer, a real-life go-getter. Most people like good, but Sofia liked better. So this is someone who really cares about people. Her and her grandpa, they do something so amazing. They go to people who are stuck in their homes that can't get out, and they bring things to them and they help them. That's a wonderful thing, especially right now. We should think of our community people who need us right now, and we should help however we can. All right, so this page I have to turn on its side. Each morning, Abuelo walked Sophie to class. They walked home together along Blue River Pass, making plans, munching cookies, Abuelo and girl. Except for that Tuesday when Pup saw a squirrel. With a howl, Pup took off, racing all through the town, over, under, beneath, and around. Sophia scrambled to try to keep up with the hollering man and the bellowing pup. Up the squirrel ran to the top of a hill, made of leftover junk for the local landfill. They reached the tip-top of that mountain of trash, which jiggled and broke with an ear-splitting crash. Down they all tumbled and hit with a thud on a moldy old pumpkin surrounded by mud. Ouch! Cried Abuelo. He struggled to stand. A dangerous mess, he said, grasping her hand. The next day, Sofia walked to school solo, but it wasn't the same without her abuelo. "This is not right," declared young Sofia, who glared at Mount Trashmore and got an idea. Look at that mountain of trash in their town. What do you think? Would you want that mountain of trash in your town? I would not. The very next morning at dawn, she planted a sign at the front of the lawn. She stood back and smiled, and Pup gave a bark. "Get rid of Mount Trashmore. Let's build a new park." Now I want to stop here because if you remember, I said that the kids in the other books, they're friends actually with Sofia. And if we remember from the book Iggy Peck Architect, Iggy Peck builds a sphinx in his backyard out of dirt clods, and there's the sphinx. So we're to assume from this picture that Sofia is neighbors with Iggy Peck. Isn't that cool? Each of her neighbors had something to say about benches and gardens and places to play, meeting spots, gardens, a basket for bees, a rubber duck pond, and a kiosk for cheese. She drew up every thought on her map of the park, which was perfectly perfect by 1:15. She drifted to sleep in her soft, cozy bed. Then, bam, she woke up when a thought smacked her head. Her heart skipped a beat as she realized each one of her neighbors had said, "Let me know when it's done." They all thought Sofia could build it alone. But how could one girl do so much on her own? The weight of that thought made her tender heart ache as night thunder growled and she lay wide awake. Then dawn brought a storm and the gloomy sky wept, and the heartsick Sofia finally slept. Now I want to point out this page too. The illustrator always gives us so many interesting details in this book, and we see Sofia's bedroom has posters of a very famous singer from a while ago. Her name is Sade. She sang a song called Smooth Operator. You can ask your family about her, look it up. It's a great song from the 1980s, kind of old. And then another poster she has is of a very famous artist named Frida Kahlo. So it's very cool that her room has posters of Sade and Frida Kahlo. Very interesting people, definitely. Abuelo baked cookies when Sophie got up. He gave her a bagful and sneaked one to Pup. He blinked back a tear as he hugged his Sofia. "For courage," he whispered, "Te amo, mi vida." Sofia's knees wobbled. She felt weak inside. She looked at his ankle and quite nearly cried. Though she didn't feel brave or courageous at all, Sofia Valdez went to face City Hall. And here she is going into City Hall, which is right next to the library. The mayor's office sent her to room 401, the Blue River Creek Department of Fun, which sent her downstairs to room 302, the office of duck ponds and cool things to do, to the office of monkeys, the Department of Cheese, the division of fountains and meetings and bees, then down to the basement so musty and cramped where all the town papers were sorted and stamped. And that's where the clerk said what no one else did. "You can't build a new park. You're only a kid." The word smacked Sofia deep down in her heart. Her plan was kiboshed before it could start. "I think," said Sofia, "I think that law's wrong." But her second grade voice didn't sound very strong. The clerk said, "Clearly, it cannot be done. Do you have any questions?" Sofia said, "One. If you were me and I was you and he was your grandpa, what would you do?" Well, said the clerk. Then she said nothing at all. She thought and she thought. Then she sent out a call to every employee throughout City Hall. The entire government of Blue River Creek crammed into the office to hear Sophie speak, but her words jumbled up and her cheeks turned bright red as a dozen emotions rushed into her head. Her heart beat so loudly she thought it would crack. The crowd leaned in closer. Sofia leaned back. Then her arm brushed the edge of the old cookie sack. And that was the moment when Sofia first knew being brave means doing the thing you must do, though your heart cracks with fear, though you're just in grade 2. She took a deep breath, looked the mayor in the eye, and though her knees wobbled, she held her head high. Sofia started talking. She spelled out her plan and why it all mattered and how it began. And once she got rolling, she had lots to say about meeting spots, monkeys, and places to play, and other ideas for things they could do to help the town elders and other folks too. She had thoughts on the library, thoughts on the zoo, and perhaps a way to combine the two. And... "All right," cried the mayor, "go start a petition. If the town wants a new park, we'll form a commission." And so young Sofia got right to work with some help from her family and pup and the clerk. Then others joined in, not all, but a few, like Miss Lila Greer and the kids in grade 2. Now, like I said, they're all in the same class. So here are some of the kids from the other books. We have Ada Twist Scientist is over here. Iggy Peck is right near her. Actually, no, I'm wrong. Iggy Peck is down here because he's got a sign that says Architects for Parks. You know, Iggy Peck wants to be an architect, so of course he would have that. And then Rosie Revere, okay, and she has... her sign says "We can do it." And for those of you that read Rosie Revere Engineer with me, you know Rosie the Riveter, who Rosie Revere is based on. Her slogan was "We can do it." And she's got the cool headscarf. So like I said, these are the kids from the other books. And now we also have Sofia. There were hearings and surveys and taxes to figure, then bulldozers, cranes, and a blue bigger digger. They all built that park, that's how it got done, with the hard work of, by, and for everyone. But it began with the dream of one person, just one, who laced up her shoes and then led the way to help Blue River Creek get a new place to play. Now every evening till long after dark, the town comes together at Citizens Park. They all hold this truth to be self-evident, that Sofia Valdez could grow up to be president. Until then, Sofia, that real-life go-getter, helps Blue River Creek get better and better. And again, we see Ada Twist Scientist is here. She's building, looks like a beekeep. And we see Iggy Peck is with his teacher using the bulldozer. And let's see, where's Rosie Revere? She's got to be here somewhere. Where's Miss Rosie? Oh, there's Rosie. She's planting some plants with her friends right behind Sofia. All right, friends, that's the end of the book. I hope you really enjoyed this story. I love everything by this author and illustrator. I think they do such a great job. And I think there's such a great message here. You know what, guys? We can make a difference. And if you see something in your community that you think Westwood needs, if you have a great idea, talk about it. You know, even though you're a kid, your idea matters too. Okay, guys? Hope you have a great week. I'll see you soon. Bye.